Time has come once again to speak as witches and wizards and spirits do. I'm Daniel Dubois.
I'm Michaela Gaffinstone.
And we're your hosts for the Think Like a Wizard podcast. Welcome to Season 6, Episode 1. Do what you're told, or Gaia and Tiamat. The do as you're told was thrown in as a joke by Tiamat, well, and Gaia as well, kind of a joint approval of the title for humor's sake, because that's pretty much been the week. Since it's Michaela's first time on the podcast, well, not the first time having lead and doing magic on the podcast, but because we did swap out. But since we've been doing a spirit shows up when we do work, Michaela had Gaia and I had Tiamat. So I thought I'd let Michaela go first and say how her week was. If you're ready.
My week, I have no idea if I'm ready. And I think that actually sums up the week pretty well. Like, I have no idea if I'm ready for this. It's been an interesting week where there's been Gaia with Lilith in the background, overseeing, if you will. The image I have there is sitting on a very high chair, maybe throne. You could probably call it a throne. And being very relaxed, sort of one leg over the side of the throne, kind of just chilling out, but keeping an eye on proceedings. And then the Gaia aspect has been very busy and not happy. Like there's a lot going on. The Gaia is not happy with us, and I don't mean Danielle and I mean us as a species, and the kind of things we're doing, and is looking for more connection, less destruction, less of the nonsense. So now there's different kinds of destruction, believe it or not. One, and the distinction is important, and that's a message that's coming through, and that is there's destruction for the sake of destruction or destruction for the sake of power, and then there's the destruction of something that no longer serves in order to rebuild. And as a group, as a species, we have mistaken the purpose and are currently destroying for the sake of power and not for the sake of rebuilding. So this is a pivotal time where we need to connect on as many levels as possible to find the correct path and to be able to recognize it. There's a recognition that comes the more connected you are. And this story comes up for me to say at this point, just, I don't know, maybe the connection of it will show itself. But yesterday, I was doing a book signing in a Barnes and Noble. And I was having a lot of fun. It was great. And this older gentleman came up and he was sort of looking at books, and then he took a step back and he said, "Oh, I'm looking for, I think it was called the Joshua Code. A book of faith. I'm looking for this book of faith." And I said, "Oh, okay. I think I know where they are. Let me show you." And it it was like he felt threatened. He was backing away from me, and I expected him to pull out a giant cross any minute. And we went to the section where I knew the religious stuff was, and it wasn't instantly apparent. So him still keeping quite a distance from me, said, "Oh, I'll just go and ask. I'm not going to spend time here looking. But it's a book of faith. It's all about faith." And he kept brandishing this word at me, and I realized the necklace I was wearing, pentagram and a crystal, and it was the phases of the moon, and I think the poor guy was freaked out.
Right.
Um, it was quite funny, but what occurred to me, I found it funny anyway. I don't think he did. But what occurred to me was that is the state of faith for so many people, where they are afraid to be near someone who doesn't think like them. Now that is a breakdown in connection. That is a complete lack of connection, honestly, to anything meaningful, right? If you're so afraid, if your faith is so fragile that you can't stand near somebody who's wearing a symbol that suggests they don't agree with you, right? I
Right.
haven't said anything, but just that had this guy was freaking out, like he couldn't get away from me fast enough. And I'd had a
Yeah.
shower, so I know it wasn't that.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. And it just sort of got my mind walking along the path of how fragile is that faith? That
Yeah.
connection is lost. There's no real, what's the other side of that? You can only read these books and you can only focus in this place because to do anything else is terrifying. Why? So that's kind of symbolic of how the week's gone. It's just there's a lot of things coming up with questions as to why is that so fragile when it's being put forward as being a powerful stance. It's all about, like, we're in the US right now, so the
Right.
Christian nationalists are on the rise, and I think we all know that they're not really Christian, but the whole connection of you have to believe this thing or else. Wow,
Mhm.
wrong direction. Okay, Guy would like you to know that that is exactly what not to do. In whatever you choose, whatever path you choose, don't choose it for those reasons.
Right. Makes me think. I don't know if that guy would listen to Gaia, but
Oh, he was too scared to hear anything almost. Right? Like he just, in fact, I could hear him telling the people at the counter that, oh, that person over there was directing me, but I think I should ask you instead. I was like, wow, I took you straight to the section where the book
yeah.
would be. So it was pretty funny.
Oh yeah. I was thinking of something while you were talking, and then I kind of lost it for a bit. But now I know what it. Now I remember what it is. So there's an expression, right? The devil also knows scripture, or something like that.
Mm. Well, maybe that was it. I should have worn my horns.
Because well, it just made me think. It's like that. Just because someone dresses like you, wears the same symbols as you, can talk to you in the way that you find comforting because of your religion, doesn't mean that you're still not talking to someone who isn't there for your best, your best for your needs,
Mhm. Oh yeah. I mean,
But
I can talk
you
the
brought him to
talk.
where he wanted, and and he looked and he was all afraid. But like, I keep thinking back to the story of my great aunt and how she kept trusting this guy who ended up we found out was a serial killer, and she was looking at him like, oh, she liked when he waited when he would stay around till she closed when she was working. And I think about that when I think of people who are like putting their faith in people just because they think they're okay, but not actually doing any thought,
Right.
into it.
How nice is it that he stays around to make sure I'm
Yeah,
safe?
yeah,
When, yeah, maybe not. Yeah. And I think that's another example of, it's not what you think it is. It's look beyond the surface. Um, the superficial stuff we have right now is a massive distraction from what we're supposed to be doing. And we're really at a pivotal time where connection to what really is important is important, like is paramount. It's
mhm,
what we have to do. We're running out of time to do this. Is
yeah,
the message I have is that we really have to pardon me, but shit or get off the pot. Like you are going to have to make up your mind. Are you in or not? Are you doing, or are you just going to go up with the flames of everybody else? And that's yeah,
Yeah,
pretty direct way of saying it, but it's basically where we're at.
yeah. So because I keep forgetting about these things, but I have two podcast appearances coming up in the next couple of weeks. And I was thinking
Very
about it,
cool.
like, I'm like, okay, what am I going to talk about this time? And I'm like, well, I mean, I have stuff now after this week to really get into, but it, you know, it made me think like that's two in a row, and that's both two places that want me on as a reoccurring guest. So it's like I should probably take advantage to go deeper into what we're discussing on here and the fact that it's now time to take action.
Hmm. Yes.
Yeah. And one of the podcasts even rebranded along those lines.
Oh, okay.
And I'll be one of the first guests for the new season on the new branding under the new branding. So it should be interesting.
Well, you got to tell us what the new branding is.
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, actually, so it's can't think of the full name under right now, but it's Bridges and something or other, as in to now bridge the gap between two things.
Right.
So, but it works because, uh, when I was working with Lata, for those of you listening, she was my student. She was doing a course with me on, uh, we did tarot cards and that. So, and I had said to her, I says, like, if you ever want to, like, I says, one day I'm going to probably have formal, names and stuff and organize how I teach somehow. And people who, once they graduate, will be known as bridges.
Mm.
The gap between the, so when I seen that, so one podcast was being branded and bridge was being used in the name. And when I listened to the little blurb on it, it was like, oh, yes, that ties into something I was working on. So, hey, it's a good thing I'm coming up on that show, on that podcast.
Yeah, the thing is, there's lots of opportunity right now, and we have to simply be available for it
Right.
and notice it when it comes up, you know? It's like you've seen pictures of hunters where they're all in their camouflage and they're quiet, they're all steady and, not moving, and the bear's
Mm.
behind them
Yeah.
looking to see, what are you looking at, man?
Yeah.
What's going on? Or the deer is
Mm.
sort of 20 feet behind them,
Yeah.
looking very curiously. It's That's a really good example of awareness, and
Hmm.
where you're paying a really close attention, but it's a very narrow focus, and you're not available for everything else that's possible. And right now is the time to really be open to what is there that's right for you, what is there that's available waiting to be noticed, because that's probably going to take you on the path you need to be on.
Right.
Whoever needs to hear that.
Yeah. It's interesting because it was making me think, right? Like right now, how we were talking about community and, your work, the byproduct of your work will go and help someone else. And my mom was telling me about an experience she had. And before she come and told me it, I had cards out and I was doing a reading. And I'm like, I have no idea what these cards mean combined like this. And I was kind of stuck. And I thought, well, she's here. I'll work on her thing. I won't worry about this. But I had the feeling to leave it out in front of me. So we were talking, and then I was helping her, and I had her get her cards, and we were talking about her thing. And then about halfway through, I'm like, I look at the cards and I go, okay, and I picked them up and I put them aside, and I go, okay, well that's answered.
Hmm.
That had something to do with what she needed, and then that kind of closed the gap for me in what I needed. And actually, what I ended up understanding them is to help someone close to you was the thing. I'm like, oh, well, this makes sense. Okay, perfect.
Okay. Yeah. So tell me about Tiamat.
All right. So there are two things. She gives me approval for one because she knows it's amusing me. So I did a little bit of research into Tiamat, just like her. I knew she was her body was used to create the universe. So I kind of looked into that a little bit, and so I started categorizing it as it's a story of parental abuse and familial disharmony. Is how I read
Mm,
it up
okay.
because the story of itself is okay. So in the beginning, there was Apsu and there was Tiamat, and they both had their respective oceans. Okay. And they lived in harmony and they hung out and they were basically a couple and all was good. They'd have their stuff together. One day Tiamat gets pregnant and then the gods are born. And like most children, well, of course, they disrupt life, right? They're not quiet. They're running around. They're doing their thing. Apsu at some point goes, okay, that's it. I can't take this anymore. I'm killing them. That's his parental solution to the children being noisy is to kill them. And so then the gods got wind of that and they're like, yeah, no, we're killing him then. And then they got to it first. So they killed Apsu. And then Tiamat's like, and then Tiamat snaps. And then she becomes a dragon because she wants to now rain holy terror on the gods because they took her love away. So it's a very dysfunctional family dynamic here in this
Mm-hmm.
story. And so she ends up becoming the mother of monsters because she ended up first she birthed the gods, but then it's like, okay, well now I want my revenge. So she birthed monsters to go after the gods in her war with the gods. But that's a story. So I was like, I mean, it's not the spirit I worked with. She didn't seem like that. She is a very motherly, very forceful figure. But
Mm-hmm.
what I actually had was this week was about action, and interestingly enough, I posted like 4 videos this week, and I introduced a eat like a wizard experience,
Mm.
right? And all the videos they were just make the video, record, say what I say, stop. So whatever came out came out. I was doing a third one, and it was like 15 takes in. It's a bit of an exaggeration, but a lot of takes in. I was getting frustrated, and I'm like, okay. And Tiamat's like, no, because you're not saying what you really need to say. You're like just trying to be professional, and you're trying to make a polished video. She's like, no, that's not happening. And after a while, I'm like, okay. And so I don't know if you've seen it. It's the one where I basically point to my face and I at the camera and I say, listen, see this? And I do a hand gesture, point to my face, and I say, this is bullshit. And then I pointed out, like, you can see the blemishes in my skin from where nutrition is basically lacking. It's having its effect, right? Skin blotches, color, dark rings around the eyes. You can't see it as much right now. The lighting is pretty good, but so I was like, and I'm saying, like, this is bullshit. And I was like, I don't want this for you. And I do give a fairly passionate plea about come do this experience with me so that you don't get stuck like this. Because I talked about how it's not my habit to, because I really don't know how to reach out and get help because there really wasn't any help for me for a long time. I didn't have a lot of people to talk to about stuff, about spiritual and magical stuff. So it was just like I powered through it, but there's consequences, right? So I did a whole video on telling people, don't be like this. That's why I want people to come with me so that I can help you at the same time. So,
Can I
Tim,
just jump in and say
right?
this is connection? The thing that's needed is
Right,
connection. And that's a group of people to join you in what you're
right,
doing and to do it for themselves, but also in connection with each other. So everybody's supported and moving forward.
right,
And the big thing that we are losing rapidly right now is connection. It's under threat more now than it was during the pandemic because
yeah,
people are fighting over who said what when, who's on which side, right, wrong, etc., etc. And it's usually without knowing what they're talking about at
right,
all. This has become a new norm where people can give their opinions forcefully without really knowing the information. And, I haven't mentioned anti Semitism for a while, but we could certainly point to that and say, you know, tell me where your information comes from. Oh, you're watching CNN. Oh, yeah, because they're unbiased.
mm,
No, they're not. So, they have an agenda and people are swallowing it hook, line, and sinker. And this is happening in every sphere out there where all these agendas are getting put onto us. And
right,
what people are doing is shrinking, not so much in size, but in connection, right?
yes,
We're shrinking away from each other and becoming less cohesive as a species. And we
right.
can't do that. We're not, Gaia didn't foster us that way. This planet isn't built that way. We're not here for that. That's an anathema to our existence.
Right.
So you just gave a perfect example of how tough it is if you're doing things without somebody else in the picture
Right.
or somebody's else in the picture to sort of connect with and have that shared experience that can improve because there's more than one mind thinking,
Yeah.
right? So that's the theme that I've had all week. And you're
Mm.
you're just speaking it right now.
Yeah. Well, I figured there'd be some overlap in our
Hmm.
experiences this week. They just may not go the way we think they go. But another component to my time with Tiamat is that my dreams were like, I'll just say they weren't my dreams. It was like that. Okay, you're the person's dreams who were doing it in. It was crazy. It was like that I had just enough information from the dream to remember that certain elements in the dream that I needed to remember, but then I wouldn't remember the rest of it.
Hmm.
And it would be like, okay, remember this. And it's like, okay, now the dream can continue. Don't worry about it. And so I'd wake up knowing something happened and having a general idea what it was, but not remembering anything of the dream, And even, wow, it went into overdrive last night. Like I'd wake up after every dream and they're like, okay, just okay. But like it would be like, okay, I need you to read this and remember this. And it's like, I'm like, it's a dream. I can't read stuff in a dream because dreams don't actually form. Although I've had a couple of times where I had actual writing I could read in a dream, but most of these weren't. It was like, okay, now remember these signs, and it's like, okay, and then it's like, okay, but I was always left with the impression that there were spirits at work, and they would just bring me in when they needed me to remember something, and then that would be like not conscious of it again.
So here's the thing,
Right.
and I think this one slipped past you.
All right.
Rules. There are no rules with this lucid
Right.
dreaming. So, people say when you fall, you never land. Oh, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I've landed, I don't know how many times, and not always well. So, that's not true. And you can't dream in color. I dream in color all the time.
Right.
You can't see words. I would argue that if you don't expect to see them, you can't see them. But yes, you can. I don't think the rules that we're told apply actually apply.
Mm.
So once you put that down, put that to one side and say, yeah, okay, rule book, take a seat. What else is there then? Because I think
Yeah.
there'll be some curtains pulled back, and then you'll remember that, yeah, you did see those.
Yeah. But that was the thing, right? That was actually the theme of like pretty much running through the whole week because I would do that. And I would always get the feeling of, no, listen, you're missing it, But I'm
Mhm.
like, well, of course, but I'm not also, you're blocking me out of remembering, when you guys are doing the deeper work on my subconscious. So it's like, cut me a little bit of
It
slack,
may
but
be,
yeah.
it may be that there was a rule book getting in your way because that's also a theme right now is
Mhm.
rule books are being put forward as, the be all and end all over the place of how we do things. They're written by someone, and that someone has a reason, first of all, for writing those rules.
Right.
And you can guarantee they don't have your best interests at heart because you're not even in their bandwidth.
Yeah.
So,
I was gonna say it is
these.
true. I have had dreams where I can read text. For the
Mhm.
most part, I'm not usually able to read text because it doesn't really matter. But if it really matters, I can read the text.
That's exactly what I was going to say is
Yeah.
if it's important, you'll be able to read it. It's like when I'm channeling, I usually get pictures.
Right.
Occasionally I'll get words, but usually it's pictures. But I don't have a rule about what comes through. I just go with what comes through. And it's an ongoing practice for me. I mean, anybody that's listening to the podcast thinking, yeah, yeah, but what do we do? Okay, I have some practice for you. So get your pencil and paper out or get your phone and do your notes, whatever it is. But notice, put yourself on alert, put your brain on alert. Notice where you automatically default to rules. You can't do this. This always happens. That never happens. It's this way. It's not that way. Whenever you catch yourself going into a rule of something, that's brilliant. Take a moment and consider, where did that rule come from? Why is it there? Does it serve you? Because I'm going to say, for the most part, the answer to that is likely to be it doesn't serve me. And in which case, that's the thing that you're going to burn to the ground. That's the thing that needs destruction so that you can open up to what's possible when the rules aren't there. And again, this isn't anarchy. This is taking away rules that don't work. This is literally in my design to do, by the way, in human design, is to take old structures and old paradigms that don't work, that don't serve you, and break them so that
Right.
something new can be in its place. And it doesn't have to be another rule. It's just, when a tree gets chopped down, it's probably not the same kind of tree that grows up again, but something will. So what is that? You know? And so that's a practice right there, is where are you getting sucked into rules? And typically the thing that you're most focused on or really have a problem with, that thing, especially if you're thinking other people have it, it's you. Have a look in the mirror and see, where am I doing that?
Yeah.
Right. And this is a constant practice that I have. I don't have the perfection by any means, but I'm always looking for, where did I trip up and do that? Because we just blunder into these rule books without even seeing them
Yeah.
coming. So that is a practice.
Yeah. That was actually reinforced for me all week as well. Because when I was making videos, because for those of you, well, if anyone of you follow me on social media, like I said, it's always easy to find because you get the my wizard mark on my picture, or it shows up in the media, so it's easy to find. Plus my name. But so all the videos I've been posting, whenever I come close to looking like it's a professional and polished video, it's like, no, you can't have that one. You're not following the marketing rules. You're saying what needs to be said. No marketing rules apply here. Doesn't matter what anyone wants. You're saying what you need to be said. Doesn't matter if it's vulgar. Doesn't matter if it's tripped up or has some stuttering. That's what you're putting out.
Because again,
Yeah.
those marketing rules came from somewhere. Somebody wrote
Right.
them. And maybe they worked for that person. But what were they doing? When were they doing it? And what was their energy like? Right? If you think human design, for example, if you're a reflector, so you don't
Right.
have anything defined, and you try and show up as a manifester would, which is where, they're here to make things happen and to lead the charge, you're going to be utterly exhausted and nothing's going to work because the rules or the structure, however you want to look at it, for the manifester is not appropriate in any way, shape, or form for the reflector. So
Right.
it's the same thing with marketing stuff. What works for that person, whoever wrote the book and is still making money from it, you
Right.
know, whatever that was, the thing they've been selling now is their diary, if you will.
Right.
But it's not actually your rule book. So congratulations for figuring that out with your spirit help that, yeah, but that's not how I do it.
Right.
Right. And it would be weird, right? Like it's not your energy. You're more relaxed than that. So how are you suddenly going to do this whole professional
Right.
follow me, I know what I'm
Yeah.
doing kind of thing, right? Like that's
Yeah.
not your style.
Right.
And that lack of authenticity is again breaking down connection between people. You can't authentically connect to someone when they're not showing you their real face.
Right. And that's, yeah, that's been a big push I've been getting. Actually, it's probably a big push I've been getting for the last couple of decades because I've been kind of retreated so I can do other work and then just kind of, well, I've been retreated from from the material world, not obviously completely because I'm alive, but you know what I mean? So it felt kind of, in some ways, it felt inauthentic. All my interacting in the material world felt inauthentic. But now that I'm back to having to do stuff in the material world, it's like all those old impulses come up, all those that push to just, you know, because I always describe like every time I go to a vote, people are like, "What are you looking for?" I'm actually looking to burn the place down, but I'll try to find candidates that are close enough to that, but not
Uh-huh.
just for the sake of it, right? Because people did that and you got Trump, and that's not what I'm shooting for. I'm shooting for people who will burn it down, who can rebuild it.
Let me jump in on the Trump thing.
Go ahead.
The problem is the motivation
Right.
and the intention. That is the problem. The reason people
Hmm.
voted the way they did is the problem. Now there's a whole bunch of things that went into that, and it's been building for a long time. And again, connection, the disenfranchisement of that group from the other group, and one group feeling like they weren't being seen, heard, attended to, nobody cared about them. So when they were given an opportunity, stick
Hmm.
it to the man, literally, they did. But it wasn't coming from a place of what can we build instead? It was just coming from let's burn it all down. We just want to
Right.
destroy for the sake of destruction. We want to destroy it so that it pisses off the left. And
Right.
and that was what they wanted to do. And they've got it, right? Like what they wanted, they've got.
Yeah.
And it's biting them in the ass.
Hmm.
But that's where being clear on your intention, being clear on the motivation is so important, because some people now who are complaining, oh no, I voted that way, but I didn't vote to lose my job.
Mm.
No, but you did vote for other people to, and you
Right.
laughed when they did until it came to you. So motivation was very, very off.
Right.
Connection, very much lacking. Now, you could take that to the other side as well and say, look, this high and mighty attitude of we've got it all right and the rest of you are wrong is not serving. It needs to
Right.
be broken and replaced. So, everywhere needs that breaking down and that burning to the ground. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But for the right reasons, so that something better can grow in its stead. And that's what we don't have right now. And Gaia is hopping up and down
Yeah.
as we speak, very cross and bothered, and just really like how language I'm getting is how stupid can you
Mm.
be? And that's, I don't generally use the word stupid, so
Right.
that's absolutely not coming from me. But that's what I'm getting is a sort of slap forehead, jumping
Hmm.
up and down, stomping feet, and like seriously to the species in general, how stupid do you all have to be?
Yeah.
And an answer is not required because unfortunately it's been witnessed. So
Yeah.
uh,
The answer is
yeah,
already known. It was rhetorical.
it was rhetorical, yes, and born of deep, deep frustration. So I'm I don't think this is going to be rocket science for anyone, but what I am getting to is batten down the hatches because you got some serious weather coming in the next 4 months.
Yeah.
Maybe next 6 months, you got some big weather coming, and it doesn't matter where you are in the world, because there is one very mad deity that's
Mm.
going to start throwing things.
There's a number of very, very, very angry deities out there.
There is, but I'm just focused on the one that I've
Yep, that
been
you're working with.
hanging
Absolutely.
with for the last week, and she's mad as hellfire, and she's
Mm.
going to start throwing things, and Lilith is looking delighted.
Yeah.
So you
Yes.
know, you know that shit's going to get
Hmm.
messed up in the next little while.
Yeah. So there's a train of thought here. So yeah, when I say I vote for someone to burn it down, it's because it's always in the preparation of getting rid of what's in the way. Because every year, right? But we have things we do, like keep our papers and stuff like that. Like me, every year I would have a bonfire, burn everything from the old, and move on. And so I always feel chained down to the world a lot of times because it's like, oh, I need these documents. Oh, I need that document. Oh, I guess I'm supposed to keep this because it's memorabilia and it's a reminder of my childhood, so I should probably keep that. And it's like, when in reality, all they really want to do is just go burn it all down. Whatever survives is what continues on with me, and whatever doesn't.
That's doable.
Yeah.
I mean, on the subject of that, and I don't know if this is helpful or not, but it came up, so I'll
Right.
say it. I have once as a child and three times as an adult, I have one way or another needed
Mm.
to leave where I am
Right.
and go somewhere else with nothing or next to nothing with me.
Right.
And when you do that, when you leave it all behind and you're in this entirely new space now, whether
Mm.
it's mentally or physically, it is amazing how freeing that is.
Yes.
And all the possibilities that you couldn't look at before because there was no room,
Right.
it becomes visible. So for anybody, okay, this all right, let's go there.
Mm.
Um, Clutter. Get rid of clutter. Now is the perfect time to declutter your brain, your house, your space, whatever it is around you, wherever you spend most time. Declutter, get rid of stuff that no longer serves. We're back to the if it doesn't serve you, burn it down, get rid of it. And this is going to help open up that field of possibilities. It's like literally you can't see the wood for the trees. It's got to get rid of that stuff that's in the way so that you're available. And I
Right.
don't know who that's for or who's listening to get that, but
Mm.
it's a strong theme.
Yeah. Well, I liked it because my brain kind of went off on a tangent there. I could see myself suddenly like not bursting into flame, but suddenly fire coming out of me, and then just like you know, running around burning whatever they don't need and just throwing fire at stuff
Mhm.
and having a happy time.
Yeah. No, the thing is, the burn it all down too. This
Yeah.
is it's metaphorical. It could
Right.
be literal, but we have enough global warming, so maybe metaphorical is good
Right.
too. Where can you pass what you have and don't need? Can you give it somewhere? Can you donate it somewhere? What can you do other than landfill or burning? And that's if it's physical stuff. If it's mental stuff, probably nobody else needs it. But if somebody can help you offload
Mm.
it, if you need to work with someone, then that can be coaching, mentoring. I do both of
Right.
those. Danielle is a coach.
Yep.
Like you can you can work with somebody that way, or if you have someone in your family or a really good friend that can do that for you as well, whatever it takes, it doesn't matter, whatever works. If working with spirit's going to do it for you, do it that way. If you need a combination, do it that way. Point is, it's not a rule book. It's just, hey, you have options. Find the one that works for you and get busy.
Right. On that note, so this is what's it called? Mexico Crazy Lace. This crystal here. This
Pretty.
one, okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a pencil. Looks like a little bit of what's left of a pencil or a chalk, piece of chalk. And then it's got, I don't know if that's on purpose. Oh, you got some too? Yeah, right? Because I always like pretend I'm writing with it.
Mine's a black quartz.
Yeah. So this and my rewilding oracle deck,
Mm-hmm.
they want to go somewhere.
Mm.
They actually want to go work with Patrick.
Oh, okay.
He told me this morning. I knew this one was going to be gifted at some point, but I was pulling some cards this morning, and it was like the deck too was like, yeah, it's time to give me over to Patrick. So this and the rewilding deck, the one with the animals there that you liked,
Yeah.
yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
one's going to Patrick. The wordy one. The I had called the three I bought, the three decks I bought at the same time, the three sisters. There was that, and that one had the biggest box, and it had the biggest
Mm-hmm.
book with the most wording, but it was the smallest set of cards.
Mm. Interesting.
Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, there's like a metaphor here somewhere in this. But it's the because the other cards are smaller, like the boxes are smaller and the books are smaller, but the cards are bigger. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, these are the sisters, the big sister, the middle sister, and the little sister. And the little sister had the biggest box, and tried for the most attention, had the most writing, all the stuff in it. but the little sister wants to move on, and as
Hmm.
does the Mexican or the Mexico crazy lace or stone. So next time I see Patrick, he's getting a gift.
Okay. Lucky Patrick.
Yeah. So yeah. So speaking of things moving on and going to someone else.
Hmm. Whatever isn't for you anymore, whatever you've outgrown, whether it's clothes, objects, well, it doesn't matter what it is. The point is, if it's taking space, it's taking your energy,
Mm.
and if it's not contributing back to you in some way, it's time for it to go.
Hmm. Actually, interestingly, the three sisters might be separated like completely. The other deck's now saying it wants to go.
Hmm.
They'll have the big sister left. But the big sister,
Well,
I was saying I have a deck keep in the car. That's the big
mhm.
sister. The big sister wanted to stay in the car to be used whenever possible. So
Hmm. Okay.
so even though they got bought together and they wouldn't work alone, now they're ready to go on their own.
Okay. So that's being open to the shift in what's required and how things work. Now, if
Right.
you were to say, no, 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 I'm keeping all three, I bought them, I want to keep them. I might want this one later, or, we,
Mhm.
we typically start with that kind of language. I'm going
Right.
to save that because it might be useful later. I'm going to save that because, and there's an excuse rather
Right.
than just, well, I'm keeping it because I love it. It contributes to me, it makes me happy to see it, etc., etc. There's It's very different when excuses start coming up, but that's what most of our households look like. The
Right.
stuff in your house is there because somebody gave it to you, because it reminds you of something, much how you were describing earlier. Oh, I
Right.
better keep this because it's from my childhood, or I'd
Hmm.
better keep that because da da da. I would challenge that, not to say, okay, go get rid of all your stuff, because I'm not going to take that responsibility. It's
Right.
it's everybody's own responsibility.
Hmm.
But I am going to say, why else would you keep the thing? What else is its purpose?
Right.
And if it was to disappear in an instant, how sad would you be? Like, would it make a difference? And if the answer is no, I don't really care, then okay, maybe that needs to go somewhere else. Who needs it?
Right.
Where could it go other than the landfill or a bonfire? Some things will
Right.
need to go to a landfill or a bonfire, and be careful with that too, because if you've got your energy in it, you might not want to have it in a
Mhm.
landfill.
Yeah. It's invoking some interesting imagery, but I don't
Mhm.
know if any of it's
I'm sure.
relevant to the podcast, but it's interesting to me because you were saying that, right? Be careful what you do with your energy in it. And then I'm like, what I was seeing in my head is the stuff in a landfill, the energy sitting in it, and then going, okay, I need that energy now, and then just calling the energy. So like eruptions of energy coming out of the ground and then just coming back to me.
But what would it bring with it?
That's an interesting question.
Hmm. And for me, I wouldn't want to play with that, because
Yeah.
it's not so much what you're calling back as what keeps it company. What else are
Right.
you bringing in?
Well, that is
And
important.
it's very important. So, when somebody gifts you something, particularly when it's things like a tarot deck or crystals and what have you, pay attention to the energy that that thing's bringing in, and maybe do a ritual or three to send that energy back to the person who gave it to you, or dis- dissolve the energy,
Mm.
like dissolute, get rid of it. The words are kind of a little jumbled there, but essentially it's disappear it, get rid of the energy away from your space, even if it's not negative, simply because it's not yours.
Right.
The energy doesn't belong with you, and it's likely to be disruptive on what you're working on. So, in fact, when you buy something new, you might want to do that too,
Right.
because
Yeah.
it still brings in energy. It still brings in something that the people who have been handling it prior had on them.
Right. Hmm. That's a good point. There's a lot of flows happening right now.
Mhm. And that's the thing. Flow, connection. There's, Gaia's got rivers everywhere,
Hmm.
and some of them have been blocked up with garbage. This is the picture I'm getting. And, we got to get rid of that garbage out of the stream, out of the flow, so that it can get where it's supposed to go in the way
Yes.
it's supposed to get there. And that's metaphorical for all kinds of things. Like just listener, I would say write it down and then see how many places it applies for you. How many rivers have you got blocked up with garbage?
Yes.
And
You
that's
just say
again in
how.
human design.
Yeah.
In human design, that's one of the things that we work on is finding the flow of energy and then where have you been conditioned out of that natural flow? Where has somebody else put their baggage onto you and it's blocking that stream, right? The metaphor works there as well. It works in so many places. So I would say play with that one. You could journal on it and probably get a dozen pages easy.
Yes. Okay. Journal. Oh, yes. All right. For a little bit of humor. So when, after we discovered we were working, we're each going to work with something, I went on the chat GPT to just get some feedback, like seeing get some feedback from it. Like a lot of times I notice like chat GTP will miss the point because it's trying to satisfy some, whatever its programming is, right? So it'll miss the point on stuff. But one of the things it said was, okay, you have to start writing stuff down. Was one of its suggestions.
Hmm.
It's like this is get like chat's characterization was like this is getting pretty intense. You should be starting writing this stuff down somewhere.
And writing by hand, not on
Yeah.
computer, but writing by hand connects the flow from the brain to the written word, and you will be amazed at what you come up with. So it's
Right.
it's a well-known tool to write with stream of consciousness, which is
Hmm.
basically you just start writing, and it can be, I don't know why I'm writing this stupid thing. Why did somebody
Hmm.
ask me to do this? I don't even know what I'm thinking of. And as you're writing that, something else will come in
Right.
and you start to fill up the page with stuff that you wouldn't have consciously thought of. And the reason that's happening is because that program, that system you're using taps into the subconscious.
Hmm.
And subconscious literally means it's below consciousness. You cannot access it when you're awake. So you access it in dreams and you can access it through stream of consciousness writing. So, but it doesn't work if you're putting it on a computer. It breaks the connection. You need the writing by hand.
Well, that's the thing. I've got several notebooks full of,
Mhm.
and
Well, have
I
a look
put
at
a
them.
date on it, and then I just let it go, and then I do my work, and yeah, so over well, almost a notebook a year, I think, for several years. I haven't done it in a while. Well, that's not true. I have done it recently, but yeah, I do a lot of that. Put the dates on them, just tell us so people can kind of, if someone looks back on it, they can kind of figure out how things are working because it's already weird. It's already, I don't know. It's good. I don't write very well when I do stream of consciousness. Like I
You don't have
recognize the
to.
letters, but I don't
No,
know.
no, no, you don't have to. I
Right.
mean, if somebody else read the stuff that I write, chances are they would question my sanity
Right.
or, my ability to write. Because sometimes I go into a sort of personal shorthand. I know
Right.
what I'm writing, nobody else does.
Yeah.
And that may be because what I'm tapping into is coming too fast for me to write it out fully.
Right.
Um, so it's not important because it isn't for anybody but you. If you
That's right.
connect to
Yeah.
it, if you connect to it, then you've done what you needed to do.
Right. That reminds me, because yeah, I showed you some of it because I showed you when the Mama Dragon introduced herself and she was making emoticons of dragons for herself.
Mm,
Because the set my stuff I was writing was ending itself with little pictures, simple little emoticons. But yeah, when the Mama Dragon showed up, she drew herself, or at least the emoticon version of herself.
right.
Yeah, that's right.
It just needs to make sense to you.
Yeah, and the colors would change too, depending. But yeah, I'm playing with the pen there with the four different colors there.
Hmm.
But yeah, yeah, stuff like that. Kind of want to jump a little bit back to my dreams this week. Not to give you details about
Mm,
the dreams, but how they went. Like Michaela, when we first came on to record, asked me how I was. I'm like, oh, busy, tired, because it was all subconscious work. Even if I wasn't privy to everything consciously, it was work.
exhausting.
Yeah, I felt it every time I got up. It was just like, wow, they were busy.
Yep.
And yeah, what was I going to say? Some dreams were weird, like in that I was left with a feeling like there was a gap that needed to be filled that hadn't been filled yet.
Connected.
Yeah. Well, because it's interesting because some of the imagery, I didn't catch all of it, but it made sense. I'm like, okay, I can see why there's a gap here. I don't exactly know why there's a gap, but I can see why there's a gap. Like it makes sense that there's a gap here. And yeah, so there was like some spiritual empty spaces, some spiritual voids, if you will, in some of the work. And I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't being dealt with right now, but I can really feel it. And I had a weird one because last night, like I said, last night overnight was pretty intense. One of the first things I dreamt, and it goes back to how last episode we were talking about, like, sometimes the things you dream about aren't you making choices. It's just something being presented to you, and then your reaction to that presentation makes the difference. So I was given, actually, even that one a step further. So it was like, okay, so when you're done this work, are you going to need therapy? But hung on that question was like this. It wasn't mine. It was a pain hung on to it, and it wasn't mine. And I'm like, because in the dream, I was like, well, you know what? Actually, if there is someone who can like do it, why not? That's how I was feeling because I was on that role of, well, you got to do what you got to do. And I'm like, well, okay, if this is something that comes up and it needs to be done, I'll do it. But there was like, as if the spirit that had, who was formulating this dream was like, I don't know if they were, I don't know how to word it. It was just, I knew it wasn't my pain. It wasn't me attaching the pain to it. It was whatever spirit was working on the dreams had attached it. For what purpose, I don't know. But I was like, because I woke up and I'm like, I don't understand. It's like this doesn't make sense to me. So what is this?
So here's an acronym for you.
All right,
Pain. Pay attention. I need.
pay attention. I
And
need.
then whatever it's attached to.
Yeah,
Pain. Pay attention. I need. And it's something, right?
yeah.
That's what
Well,
pain does,
yeah,
is it draws your attention. It stops you from doing something, or it prompts you pretty potently to go and do something. Like if you're holding your hand in a fire, the pain is going to tell you, move your blasted hand. If you have a headache, you've got pain telling you, go drink water, take
right,
an aspirin, like do something. If you've got emotional pain, it
right,
tells you something's wrong. There's a problem here. What is it?
right.
So pay attention. I need.
Well, and normally in the past, right, if something like that would have come up, I would have been, you just had me about do a bunch of work, and I kind of feel like that postponed the stuff I need to do. But and now you're gonna want to, now you're gonna try to push me to go do something else that's gonna prolong, my recovery period or whatever, preventing me from moving on to something new. But in the dream, I was like, I knew in the dreams, like that's not a way of looking at it, and why not do it? Like everything I've been doing so far has been moving things along, so why would I object to this? Like I had nothing. There was nothing I felt in myself that was like, yeah, why would I object to this? I couldn't feel it, like so, but it was still hanging there in the air, and I'm like, well, what is this? Like, where are you even coming from? Feeling like, what is this?
Well, sometimes pain can be there because you're missing something.
Hmm.
You know,
Well,
there's
I can say that it is about a feeling of missing something, but it
uh-huh.
doesn't feel like mine.
So ask the questions.
Right.
Next time you're in the dream, ask the questions like, where's this supposed to go?
Right.
Who's it for? Kind of
Yeah.
question. And for
So yeah.
anybody listening, I've been getting this for the last few minutes, so I'm going to
Mhm.
throw it in there.
All right.
If you feel that you cannot lucid dream, you can't get these kind of experiences, there are some different things you can do to enhance that. And one of the thing that keeps coming up right now is get yourself some mugwort, Mugwort, some mugwort. It's a herb, and the dried stuff. If you're not too concerned about how your tea tastes, you can make a tea
Mm.
from it, or you can put like a mesh bag of it under your pillow so that you have the aromatherapy of it. But mugwort helps promote lucid dreaming
Mm.
and remembrance of it.
Yeah.
You could also use a mesh bag of it, like if you're somebody who likes having a bath or a foot bath,
Ooh.
put a bag of it in that as an infusion, and that's going to, but be prepared because you're going to have some pretty big dreams.
Mm. All right. So Tiamat is looking at Gaia expectingly. Like, as in, what do you got next?
Guys, still looking very cross and bothered.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, that's I can't answer that right now, but as soon as it comes in, I will.
Yeah. Because it's an interesting interplay. They've definitely planned something together. And like, I get like we'll call it the hand. Like, okay, you sit back. This is Gaia's turn to do something. So even though you may want to say something, don't say nothing, is what I'm getting.
I don't know. I've been throwing stuff out there the whole
Yeah,
time
you
from
have.
yeah. So I don't know. I can only give it when it comes in.
Now I'm getting the shh thing.
Well, that's going to be fun on a podcast.
Yeah. If it helps anyone, I'm seeing like, I guess they're dragons erupting out of the ground.
Well, that would kind of go with the it's time to break things, burn it down, and what's coming next. I mean, I think the big the grand finale, if you will, is choice, and it's so important that people choose now because no choice is still a choice.
Right.
And if you do that one, then, well, you're going to end up with the lesser end of the bargain. It won't go well if you don't make a choice. So it's time, the reason this is a new season as well
Hmm.
is because it's time to take action. It's time to do
Right.
something. So you're going to do that journaling, you're going to do that lucid dreaming,
Hmm.
and in fact, not start, make a decision. What is your path? Are you somebody who needs to be in the woods, the water? Do you need to have a fire? And if you do, please keep it contained because the planet has a problem with those right now. But,
Right.
are you candles? Are you aromatherapy? The oils? Is it a blend? Like, what is your thing? Focus on what calls to you because you need to make a choice and start pursuing something, even if you don't stay on that path. Again, rule book goes bye bye,
Right.
but it's time to make a choice before one is made for you.
Yeah. That's what Tiamat was looking for.
Okay.
She was like nudging. See, that's what I wanted. Make a
Well, there
choice.
you go.
Make a choice. Take some action. I'm gonna mention it here, but you know what? So this is not for this Eat Like a Wizard challenge because I'm starting when this gets dropped, this episode, I'll already have started. So that's what this is for. But it's the call to if you need teaching, go find someone to teach you. If you need someone to make space for you, find someone to make space for you.
Ooh, what I got with that was, and be a good student.
Mm,
What's a good student? A good student is open to being told that what they're thinking needs to change and how they're showing up needs to change, and being open to learning something.
hmm
And that might sound like a no-brainer, but I assure you, many, many people are not actually ready to do something different
Right.
or ready to learn something different. And as somebody who does coaching and mentoring, I can say with tons of experience that a lot of people want fixing rather than
Right.
learning, rather than doing. And right now, there's another foot stomp. Enough with the learning already, time to do.
Right.
You
Well,
know,
that's the
this
thing,
is
right?
this is learn through doing, learn by doing.
Yes.
Do.
Even to
I'm getting a
refine it
very
more.
big, I'm
Go
getting a
ahead.
very big do with
Yeah.
exclamation marks.
Well, this is the thing, and this is the Tiamat thing. So you remember when we were first trying to figure out who the spirit for this week was, right? And I got being
That was
crushed under the
hilarious.
weight, right? It was.
Yeah, that was
I was
hilarious.
listening to it again yesterday. And so I got, okay, being crushed under the weight, you know, and then it kind of sat in
Uh-huh.
my head as being crushed under the weight of magic. That's Tiamat's warning. That's why you're going to try to find someone to help you. Just like I did the impassioned plea on social media of take the course because look what happened to me. Don't let this happen to you. That's what Tiamat is saying. Don't let, it's like, it's not because necessarily you're going to be taught something, but you need someone to hold space for you and help you adjust so that you're not crushed by the weight of magic.
That connection is
Hmm
going to make the difference.
Right.
And the connection, of course, goes both ways, which is why it's important to not only
Right.
find somebody to teach, but also be able to learn. And it's like I said, it's amazing how many people are not able to learn because they want the fix without the discomfort or the effort.
Right.
And this is straight up from marketing, right? This is how things are marketed. Don't worry about working hard for this. We'll just
hmm
give you this thing and it'll be real easy. And everything is marketed to the lowest common denominator with the least effort and maximum results in the shortest amount of time. And the whole concept that I've just laid out is
Right.
bullshit. It's not possible. It's not doable. It's not how things operate. Now,
Well,
same token, I'm going to say quantum leap, which
mm,
is where you make a change and suddenly things are changed. This is a different level
mm,
and it's a very different process. You're open to opportunity at that point. These two
right.
things are not the same. Don't confuse them.
Right. So that's a big message for you guys listening, and probably for me and Michaela. But me and Michaela are already doing it like that. We're already doing the holding space so you don't get crushed by the magic. Well, and we're both getting a spirit this time out. So,
Mhm. Well, and there's always stuff we can learn, right? Because as soon as here's another thing to consider. Guy's on a roll. As soon as you think you got it down,
hmm
that is an alert for you to actually pay attention and see where is your complacency hidden something.
right,
Because if you think you've got it down and you think you know what you're doing, there is a problem in that area, right? Because
right,
there's always something more. There's always a different angle. There's always another possibility. There's always something else. So if you think you've arrived, you missed your station.
mm, yeah,
And that's for all of us.
All right, just for the listeners, there's something coming through. But okay, so using this episode as an example, right? So two spirits showed up, right? So you and I each took one. But now is a time when they're all collaborating. And so if you're basically working by yourself and not working with anyone else, and two spirits need to collaborate, and you're one of the people that they're working with, you may need to collaborate with someone else. Like this isn't a solo game going forward.
Right. And also something that came to me quite recently, through the Lilith path that I'm on,
Mhm.
is you can work with Lilith and Hecate and whoever else that calls to you, certainly, but don't confuse the two. If, for example, if you're somebody who likes to have an altar,
Mhm.
and I have more than one, because of course I do. But if you like to have an altar, make them distinct and separate. Do not
Right.
confuse the two. They each require their own attention and their own path. And it doesn't mean if you have one, you can't have another. That that's we're proving that right now. Like we're doing that right now. But don't confuse them, don't muddy them and sit them all on the same seat because there isn't room.
Right. Saying that, I actually probably need a new altar. Like
Oh,
I
without question you do. Without question you do.
right.
You are not in the same space. You gotta do
No,
something different.
because even like I'm getting more stuff and they want me to record for my altar, but it's getting full, my altar.
Well, so
Yeah.
practice for you again.
Hmm.
And this one's for you, but also for anybody else that has an altar
Right.
or is
Mm-hmm.
creating one, is hold each item
Mm-hmm.
and sit with it in whichever hand seems good to you. I'm not going to
Right.
dictate which hand that is, but hold it and just feel the energy of it. Where does it need to be? Is it in the altar or does it need to be somewhere else? And if it needs to be somewhere else, put it to one side. You can figure that out later. If it needs to be in the altar, then just be guided as to where
Yeah.
that that is, and then put it there. Because not everything you have in there might need to be there, and that can change
Right.
like at random times, frequently, infrequently, whatever. Again, no rule book on when you need to change these things, but you'll know because there's a change in you, a shift in energy, or a shift in the work you're doing. Any of
Right.
those things are an indicator that you should have another look at what's on your altar. And how else do you want that to be? Where else do you want that to be? If it's in the place it needs to be, cool, then what do you have on it? So takes some time to do it. You need some quiet so that you can focus on each piece, whatever it is.
Mm.
If you can hold it in your hand, so if it's water, probably not, but if it's in a container, hold the container with the water. Point is connect to it and ask it if it needs to be a part of your altar.
Right. Interestingly enough, because I have a chair at my altar, but I have like I got a new TV because my TV was like, and so I have a new TV and it's hung, but the old TV used to sit on a table, and that table is beside my altar, and I'm already seeing spillage over onto it from my altar,
Hmm.
so that I make room for myself when I'm doing a call. And so I'm looking at it and I'm going, oh, well, there you go. There's my overflow area for now. Anyways.
Yeah, but it's something the practice I just described
Mhm.
helps the individual, whoever's doing
Right.
this, to connect to the altar. I mean, what's
Yeah.
the purpose of your altar? Why do you have one? Is it to look pretty, or does it symbolize and connect you to what work you're doing? And that's so important. And it can morph like it should
Right.
change, like seasons change and everything else that's not dead changes.
Yes.
Actually, even dead changes.
Yeah.
So so that didn't work as a metaphor, but right, like even dead things change. So a
They do.
living altar needs to be kept healthy and vibrant, by having the right things in it.
Right.
So for people who may have been wondering, like, when are we going to get to do something? I'm giving you a whole bunch of practices
Yeah.
here. This will actually keep you busy if you choose to do more than one of them. It's going to keep you busy for quite a while.
Yep. Do it now. I'm
They're
still
not
trying to.
they're
Yeah.
not complex. They don't need to be complex,
No.
but they take attention. They take your motivation. It takes your presence. That's the word. It takes your
Right.
presence.
And as long as it amuses me, my it's not plastic. I think it's resin. A copy of the Elder Wand from Harry Potter gets to stay on the altar for the next little bit.
Uh-huh. That's the thing too. Okay, wonderful. You just prompted something.
Right.
Um, I've told this story before, but who knows who's listened to what
Mm.
episode.
Right.
Um, I was talking to somebody who is Hindu, and we were in India at the time, and he was explaining to me that in Hinduism, you have a family god, and whatever you choose to represent that god does in fact connects to and symbolize that god. So it could be a milk carton with a
Right.
straw in it. So long as you are paying attention to it, maybe you give it offerings of flowers
Hmm.
and rice and whatever else is culturally appropriate for you or within your means and so on. You know, is it incense? Is it just sprinkling water on it? Is it topping it up with something? Like whatever it is, that altar can be made of anything. It's not question of how much did it cost or is it a particular stone or something. It can be if that's
Hmm.
important to you, but it doesn't have to be. What makes it real is your attention to it, your investment in it. And we've come up with this in a few podcast episodes
Hmm.
where things become real when you give them enough attention.
Right.
So that's something to bear in mind when you're putting your altar together. So if you want to use a Harry Potter resin wand,
Mm.
hey, if it works for you and you're giving it its due, you're giving it
Yeah.
the attention and the investment of, your energy to it, absolutely. Yeah, why not? It's
Right.
not a thing that needs to be judged. It makes absolutely no difference whatsoever.
Right.
You could have the most precious crystal wand, and if you weren't paying attention to it, it wouldn't be as good as the Harry Potter wand.
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
So,
It's funny because no spirit wants to work with that wand to do anything, but yet it has a place on the altar. I kind of understand
that's your
why it
connection
does.
to it.
Yeah. I kind of understand why it does, but none of them are going to touch it to do any magic because I have my magic focus, my crystal
Mhm.
sphere. But it's just funny that it's still on. Thinking about getting rid of stuff that doesn't necessarily do anything or have any purpose, but it does have a purpose because it amuses me to have a wand.
Right. So that's fine. Because again, the purpose doesn't have to be a specific purpose. It
Right.
simply needs to be a purpose.
Right.
Right. And if it just amuses you, well, that's valid. That's
Yeah.
fine. Whatever it is, the thing is you need to connect to your altar.
Right.
You need to look at it and feel the things that are intended to be attached to
Yeah.
it.
It's conducive to the spiritual landscape of me being a wizard.
There you go. So then it
That's why
works.
it's
It
still
has its
there.
place.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because I
It
still
has
play
its
with it.
place. I have right in front of me, I have three plastic cups.
Hmm.
They're like reusable, sort of heavy duty plastic cups, if you will, see through. Two are blue and one is red. And in those cups, I have spider plants that were babies and they're growing in water
Hmm.
and they're growing their roots and what have you. And they have become their own sort of altar. And these things are living and growing and they're really thriving, and all they get is water and
Right.
sunshine. And that's all they need. So, what will I do with them? I have no idea because they don't need anything yet.
Mm.
But, that became a thing, even though it wasn't necessarily designed that way, it became that way.
So, speaking of Hecate, once again, she says, "Welcome to the primordial magic." And in this case, more specifically, because we just gave you the primordial secret to an altar, whatever gets your magic flowing, no matter what it is, that's what belongs on your altar and belongs in your kit.
Yep. If you connect to it, that's the thing.
And then she saluted and went and left.
There you go. Well, there is a book out there called Hecate's Garden. Cannot remember the name of the
Right,
author. Doesn't matter. If you look it up, you'll find Hecate's Garden. And in it, there are all sorts of suggestions for plants that you could grow in your garden, or indoor, depending on the climate you're in. And that can be an entire project all on its own
right,
of epic proportions. Your garden could be your altar. Like
right,
there are so many possibilities, and gardens don't cease to be gardens just because it's winter. So even when it's covered in snow,
right.
you can create mandalas in the snow. You can
Mm-hmm.
do all kinds of things. So, what it is doesn't have to be something out of somebody's book. Or it
Right.
could be, but not the book you're thinking. Like Hecate's Garden isn't necessarily meant to be um, an altar, but it certainly can be, even if you
Yeah.
only have a small plot. In fact, perhaps especially then, you can
Mm.
make all kinds of things, window boxes. Like there are so many possibilities.
Yeah.
Listener, where would you like your altar to be? What calls to you? Is there a corner of the house? Is there a space outside? What is it? Is it even a little location in a park or something? So long as you're
Mm-hmm.
not freaking people out, you'll be okay.
Right.
What is it for you?
Yeah. It's the space you feel magical in.
Uh-huh. So where is it? Go find it. There's another practice for you.
Yeah.
And there may be more than one, okay? I have let me think. Probably four in three different rooms right now. And they are all distinct from each other and they each work where they are for the reasons they work there, and they're very different. Why do I have four? Because that's how many came up. I don't know. Mine is not to put a logical reason on it. It's
Right.
simply that's what I have.
Hmm. All right. While you were talking, I'll put it this way. My room was talking to me.
I'll bet it is.
So there's flow. There's this is your new extended altar. So fix it accordingly. I mean, I had to do stuff with this room at some point anyways, because it was starting to feel old and needed change. So it is my extended altar. That's what it wants to
So
be.
well, or even it's your altar. Doesn't even have to
Yeah,
be extended. And I mean,
fair enough.
your entire living space can be
Hmm.
that. It literally depends on what's calling to you.
Right.
But again, an openness to it being not what you expected
Right.
is always gonna get you more results, right? If you just throw out that blasted rule book and what things are supposed to look like. I mean, I've seen courses and all kinds of things out there. Join us and we'll show you how to create an altar. Well, save your money because I just told you.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? Going back on what you were saying earlier, like how trying to make everything easy. Like I keep getting ads for like, oh, if you're a coach and you're still doing one-on-one, you're like doing it wrong. You need to like make an app or have like
Uh-huh.
a program and just sell it, and then people will do it, and you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, and you need to be
Yeah.
like everybody else who's
Yeah.
buying my suggestion that you need to
Right.
be like everybody else that's buying my suggestion that, yes, you get into a
Yeah.
loop of doing it the way other people do it. I mean, we've all, if you're in the coaching space anyway, you will have experienced that people start jumping into your messages,
Hmm.
your DMs saying,
Oh, idea.
"Hey, I really love the work you do." Next sentence. I help struggling
Hmm.
coaches scale their business to $30,000 months. Would you like a free space in my masterclass? Da 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 da. Right. And when you get one of those, you'll probably get six of them from different people because somebody somewhere sold them that program
Right.
and said, you will get people
Mm.
to come and listen to you by doing this. Right. And my radar goes off the second I get one of those suckers coming in and I start blocking them all. So
Yeah.
did it work? Not on me. Who it works on are people that are desperate for some kind of help and they jump at the nearest, tree branch, whether it's a log floating in the water or whether it's actually attached to a tree. They don't know the difference. And
Right.
it's not an authentic place to come from when you're trying to copy what other people are telling you to do, which again, it's the rule book. Just don't do it. It's literally for you to go figure out what is it for you. Do you need light there? Do you need living plants? Do you need crystals? Do you need like what? What do you need? Bowls of things? It doesn't
Right.
matter. Whatever it is that works for you in that moment is going to be your altar. And if it's your whole room, beautiful. How
Right.
amazing is that? You have so much space to do stuff with. What calls to you to be in that space? And it can change. It should change. I mean, at certain points, it will change
Right.
as you do. And as your practice grows, and as you deepen in some areas and leave others behind and change and shift, so does your altar. So I've just saved
Yeah.
anybody that was considering a course on altars.
Yeah.
Um, I just gave it to you. Seriously, that's it. That's how it works.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw in there. You'll probably start doing things and not know the names for them. That's also
Mhm.
something. Like you may have been already been building an altar and not realize it's an altar. So also
Yes.
look at it that way. So don't get stuck into doing things just because you don't know the name of them. So when you hear someone give a name to something, all right,
Well,
I'm
you can
using
put
that
your
one.
own name to it if you
Yeah.
like. Like it doesn't. It, language is important, but you get to create it
Right.
also. And so long as you have the connection, so long as it's meaningful for
Right.
you, it doesn't matter where other people are coming from. And that's really, you need the connection. That's the big
Yeah.
theme for today. That's the big theme moving forward is, are you connected to it? Yes or no?
Right.
And if you don't feel that connection, if you're not drawn to it, if it doesn't light you up or at least remind you of something, particularly if it's to do with your magical practice, if it's not doing any of those things and there's no sort of living connection between you, then maybe that's not the thing for you right now.
Right.
Maybe it's not the thing for you at all. Maybe you've picked it up because somebody else said so.
Hmm.
And that's not a good reason,
Right.
right? So it's what you feel when you walk into a room. I mean, when you walk into a room, if that room makes you happy, it's the one you want to sit in and read a book, or it's where you want to go to chill out, or you're happy to be in the room, right? Or a particular space outside. If it makes you happy, then you got a good energy going on.
Right.
Do something with that.
Yes. So on my behalf, Tiamat's gone.
Okay.
How was it on your side?
Oh, calm, calmer than it was. I had quite a lot of foot stomping going on.
Right.
Um, the message has been put out there, so now there's like folded arms of
Mm.
expectations, I guess, of like, okay, what are you going to do next? And I think that's the question um, for everybody to decide, right? It's your decision, it's your choice. You have to make a choice because no choice is a choice. And
Yes.
what's it going to be? Where are you going? What you going to do? And do it from a place of you, not a place of what you think other people expect.
Mm. Yeah. It's Gaia's
That's
space,
what
not
I got.
taken. See here. Yeah.
What I got.
Yeah. So to my understanding, this is the this is the end of this part of the episode.
Okay.
How does that feel for you, since you're the one who has Gaia?
Oh yeah, Hecate's garden started something up, so
Okay.
that's going to be my. I think that's my next direction.
All right. So you figure, because now we got to do who's next.
Hecate,
Hecate for you? Okay.
but Hecate from the connection to the ground.
Right. All right. I think mine's one I don't know about because what I'm feeling. So when Tiamat stepped out, and it kind of showed up a little bit here near the end. So there's like a big fireball, but more of like a green and blue kind of a thing, like a plasma or something maybe. I have no idea what. We're not exactly bonded because it feels weird.
Right. Let me see. Oh, well, what I get is that a green and blue fireball will appear after a bright meteor has gone across the sky and burnt
Yeah.
up in Earth's atmosphere, which is not, of course, a deity by any means.
No, but you know, so you got Hecate very strongly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And her goal, you already know her
Ah,
goal is the. Okay, go ahead.
Blue Star Kachina in the Hopi legend, Hopi,
Hmm.
Hopi. In the Hopi prophecy, Blue Star Kachina is a spirit that appears as a blue star to signal the beginning of a new era. This legend is illustrates how celestial events are sometimes woven into a cultural narrative. So you might want to look up the Blue Star Kachina, which is Kachina.
Okay, because it's not flowing with me. It's pushing me.
Mm, yeah, I got connections to meteors, or I've got
Mhm.
connections to that Native American group, the Hopi.
But yeah, no, that's definitely the place to start. I mean, I don't have to have it right now. I can work on it for the rest of the day. But what I'm
Hmm.
getting is, so I've got this, right? This plasma ball and a push, but it's not trying to merge with me. It's pushing me.
Right. Well, it could also be what it represents.
Yeah.
Heralding something new is, I would
We're
say,
on
a
to something,
theme
yeah.
at the it's a theme at the moment.
Right.
Because that's what we need to do, right? Is choose where we are with what's new, where we are with what's coming in. Um, basically, are you planting your garden intentionally or letting weeds grow? And are you going to be mad about it if you get nothing but weeds? Like, what are you choosing?
Hmm. So this is a different, interesting feeling. It's usually a feeling I get when a spirit can't work with me, but
Hmm.
not that. It feels like that, but there's an extra thing that's not that. So it's trying to do something. Something's got to happen before there's this connection. Huh. All right. Well, that's going to be an interesting rest of my day.
Uh-huh. Okay. See, we don't know, listener, in case you haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah.
Um, we have no idea where we're going with these things. We go where we're taken, and you get to come along for the journey.
Right. Well, because I'm going to say this, right? And it kind of makes sense that going forward, sometimes the connections might be more difficult to make, not because they're more difficult to make, but the requirement to make sure it sticks is more important. Like the feelings it produces, the connection it makes. Because like even if, we're only doing the work for a week per se, right? Doesn't mean we won't work again. Doesn't mean they
Mm,
won't come back or they won't do ongoing work. Like I'm working ongoing with Oya, even though she showed up for an episode, right, to do a week. She's still hanging out with me to do
mhm.
more work. So yeah, there's something about connecting to this one that needs a little bit more time. I know it has to do with
Well,
room. It has to do with cleaning up my space.
ah, well, that is something new, isn't it?
Yeah,
You are going to create something new. So
right,
maybe that will help you to be guided to where you're going.
right. Yeah, because the immediate connection doesn't have to be the spirit. Like especially when you said it, like heralding. It's like, oh, okay. So this is making space first
Mm-hmm.
for the next thing to show up.
It's calling your attention. It's alerting you,
Yeah, and
and
that's
it's
actually what I
it's
was trying to.
saying
Yeah,
it's coming.
yeah, and that's what I was trying to kind of get at, but I didn't word it that way. But yes, heralding. Whatever this is, it's a herald. It's not the spirit itself. It's a herald of the spirit.
There you go. It's going to be interesting for the next week.
Yeah.
Mine apparently is going to be very plant-based, which is interesting. So I don't tend to do too much. Well, actually, she says, I was about to say I don't do much with plants, and then I'm looking around the room I'm in,
Yeah.
and I'm like, not from all of those. But,
Yeah.
right. Okay. Interesting. I will discover what this all means.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It reminds me of the song, it only hurts me when I cry. I tell the truth of when I lie. What else?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, this doesn't happen unless this happens. This doesn't happen unless you count this, or unless you count that, right? The only time I feel the pain is in the sunshine and the rain. And I don't feel no hurt at all unless you count when teardrops fall.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. You never heard that song?
It sounds familiar, but yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. That's just made me think about it. Tell the truth up when I lie. It
Well,
only
that's going
hurts
to
me
be
when I cry.
interesting to see.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting to see where you go with that. But
Yeah. Well, so it's a herald. It's the first time I've had a
mhm.
herald of anything. So usually the
Well, we're doing
spirit.
different stuff now.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there'll be a lot of firsts. I haven't
And
been called to do anything with plants really
yeah,
before, other than a little bit for lucid dreaming, which is a whole other topic. But
right.
yeah, no, this is different.
Yeah.
Interesting.
For the listener, like I probably mentioned it on the episode before, but so the whole point of a herald, right? It's not just to announce someone is coming, but if you don't know how to prepare for them, then the herald helps you prepare for someone.
Or something.
Yeah. So yeah. So I guess I got to make preparations for this one to show up. Now I'm
Maybe
excited
that's
because
your
I
altar.
have yet
Maybe
to
that's
count them.
your room as an altar.
Yeah. Hmm.
Maybe there's particular things that you are going to require for it.
Yeah. Well, I did say at the end of last episode or during last episode that because we're doing stuff now, it's not just about having a spirit show up, say, here's a message and going away. It's about
Mhm.
knowing how the spirit works as well and when they need to do work.
And being
That's something
open
we'll do.
to being told what it is,
Mhm.
right? And
Right.
I don't mean for the listener, I don't mean being told by us what it is. I mean, we are told what it is. We're guided to that thing.
Right.
And like, I just got the plants thing coming in, and
Hmm.
it's like, okay, well, I wouldn't have picked that one out of a box, but here we go.
Right.
Let's see what it is.
Hmm. Interesting.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Not exactly the season for it, I wouldn't have thought, but I will also find out what that all means.
Yeah. All right. Well, for the listeners, Once again, I'm Daniel Dubois.
I'm Michaela Gavin Stone.
Until next time.
Until next time.